What up, family? We got a good one today. Look, over the last week, I've received a link to view this podcast with the Perrys, where they talk about men's sex and Kevin Samuels. You know, two men sent this over to me and were just like, man, look, you got to look at this. There's some good stuff here. I want you to look at this. And in looking at this, I had a lot of tension within the conversations that were being had around men, around our discipleship, around what builds us into being good men. And I just want to share a few clips to start the conversation amongst some of us as men and some of us as women, because I believe these podcasts start us, but we need to dive in deeper. So here's the first video I want you to see.
The reason that men aren't a part of churches, because the Nation of Islam doesn't have a problem getting men. But I just had a conversation last week with a man he's the leader of his men's ministry, and he was like, men don't want to join, they don't want to participate, they don't want to be active. He was at Glory, and he was like, your women are so excited to be here. I have to beg men to come to Bible study, because they feel like if I just came to church with my wife, that's enough. And so maybe women are being catered to because women are more thirsty. Is that wrong?
I have a lot of thoughts.
I want to hear it.
I want to say something about it before you jump in. I think the nature of women allows them to be attracted to the model of the church and the way the church celebrates and idealizes the person on the stage and the person on the mic. I think in that type of scenario, we need to pay attention. Pay attention to scriptures. It says there are parts of the body that require the type of attention that the seen parts don't require. And I think we miss that, to recognize that men are drawn to places where they feel valued, or another word for that, where they feel needed. If I go into a space and everybody celebrates the pastor, they listen to the pastor, I come in and I could disappear, I could die and nobody would know. And so I'm not needed here. In fact, the reverence and respect only goes to one place. I think if we, as a church, as a people, men and women, begin to recognize that it truly is a body and pay attention to the giftings. When a man comes into that place,
how can he serve his community?
How can he serve? How can he be recognized as an individual that is coming to contribute value into this place, even if he never steps on a mic, even if he's never seen? Could the church incubate and create forums where that men could be used and recognized? See, the scripture talks about recognition in the sense that there is a special attention, there's a particular type of care or attention or reverence that goes to the part that is less seen. And I think we got that wrong in the church. It repels men. Trust me.
Let me just say this. So I agree.
All right, let's stop right there. Let me just jump in. And so basically, the point that was shared there is that men are not in church because church is a woman-dominated space. And when men do come to church, because they see it's a woman-dominated space and they do not feel needed in this space, they then are repelled from this space because this space has no place for them to fully show up as men. So it presents us with two questions. One question, do men become their best because of their environment, or do men become their best because they understand their calling, their role, and their wiring? That's the first question. The second question is, does discipleship from men take place first by invitation, or does it take place first by them having the initiative? And what I want to do is, I don't want to give my own opinion, but I want to draw something from the text. From Genesis 1, when we think about the creation and the story of Adam. When Adam was created in the Garden of Eden. He was given a purpose. He was given a job. He was given leadership over making sure that that garden was kept the way it was supposed to. And then he was given a partner in a woman. Adam was created in the perfect environment for his purpose. He was created in the perfect environment for his masculinity. He was created in the perfect environment to live out his manhood, and he still dropped the ball. And the sole reason why Adam dropped the ball is because he did not fully understand and did not fully step up to the role that manhood, his manhood, was supposed to play in the protection of not only the garden, not only his wife, but also in the protection and stepping up into the role that he's supposed to be. So what I am not saying is that discipleship is not needed. But what I am saying is it seems like they're anchoring in this point right here that an environment has to be set up for a man to flourish. And when I read the text, I hear that a perfect environment was set up for Adam, and Adam still dropped the ball. And because Adam dropped the ball in that perfect environment, that perfect environment will never come around again until Jesus Christ returns and makes the new heaven and the new earth. So what do we do until then? We show men how to step up, how to understand their wiring. Now, this is where I do agree with Ezekiel, the gentleman that's talking, and Preston Perry and Jackie Hill Perry when they're having this conversation. Discipleship cannot start at manhood. Discipleship must start in boyhood. We must get boys understanding their wiring. And in order to do that, we need to make sure we fix some things in our community between mothers and sons, between fathers and sons, between fathers and mothers, between husbands and wives. We have to fix some familiar structures because that's where boys get their best understanding of why they were wired. But what invites men to the table is not a perfect environment. What invites them to the table is when their wiring sees the problem that they're supposed to solve, where they see the position and the role that they're supposed to fill, and then they jump in that undoubtedly knowing that this is what they were created for. So I believe that a perfect environment in the church or outside of the church will not help men become more. I believe actually what happens that an imperfect environment that shows the problems that men need to solve and the correct wiring inside of men that gives them this magnetic draw towards this problem and a space for them to step up and a space for them to take over and a space for them to say that this is what I was created for as a man is the only thing that leads them there. So I cannot say that I 100% disagree with Preston and Ezekiel, but I do disagree that environment has to be set because we've had that opportunity in Adam and we failed as men. So what we need to do now, the famous Frederick Douglass quote, it's easier to build it's easier to build up boys than it is to repair broken men. We need to start building from the young ages so when men see the problems in the community, they don't have to say, I need an environment set for me to be able to thrive. They're going to say that problem, that void over there is the environment for me to step into and